The Legend of Zelda for the NES was a revolutionary game for the time, introducing a completely open world filled with mysterious dungeons, dangerous monsters, and countless secrets. It's a game that the franchise has sort of forgotten about in terms of its game design until Breath of the Wild. In a way, you could say that Breath of the Wild is a sort of spiritual successor to the original game, or even a sort of remake. For the longest time, I've looked at Zelda 1 and felt like it needed something. It hadn't received any attention from Nintendo pretty much ever. I always enjoyed the game to an extent, more than a lot of other people, I know that for sure. I first played it via the 3DS's Virtual Console, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Yeah, I didn't have any friends or a manual for hints and clues, but there is such a thing as the internet, so I just looked up the manual there. Besides, I also wanted to see how far I could go without using any help, and I actually made it pretty far. I'm quite impressed with myself, all things considered. And before I hear people telling me that I should play Tunic, I already know. I have it on my Steam wishlist as we speak. The point I'm trying to convey here is that I liked The Legend of Zelda, more than most. I always wanted Nintendo to do something with it, like a remake or something along those lines. And finally, my prayers have been answered. But not by Nintendo. For a year now, I've been following the production of a Zelda 1 remake being developed by one guy on YouTube. And today, I'm here to tell you all about him and his work. Well, I say that, but I'm not really. This video is just to give you a glimpse into the work he's done so far. And if you like what you see, you might even consider showing your support for him by subscribing to his channel. He's put in tons of work, and I feel like he deserves as much support as possible. He's truly inspiring. Just watching his devlogs are enough to make me want to make my own game. But that's a tale for another day. And so, without further ado, allow me to show you all some of the beautiful stuff Vasquez has created. Before he began his work on remaking Zelda 1, however, he made a short little NES-styled game called Vastus, or Vastus, I don't know. From what I can see, it seems to follow the journey of a woman who can turn her arm into a crab claw. That's what I can see at least. And she is fighting her way through a ruined temple infested with aquatic monsters, including a blobfish as a boss fight at the end. The first thing that stood out to me though was how familiar the game felt, and that's because it takes clear inspiration from Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. So we can clearly see that even in his earliest videos, he was a Zelda fan through and through. Judging by the fact that these are his first two videos and the only two videos to feature this game, it seems he gave up on this project. The third video is a time-lapse of a picture he drew on his computer of a Hollywood actress, Sophia Loren. He says in the description he used it for B-roll footage for a video essay for school. It may not be anything significant in terms of game development at first, but this is the first sign of his artistic skills that we will see in full force soon. His fourth video is a 1-minute sample of animation he did for Psych2Go, a mental health-focused YouTube channel. Nothing too notable here, but we do get a Lost Woods reference. We do also get to clearly see his animation skills early on though. And then in his fifth video, we get an animatic of a castle siege, which is clearly inspired by Twilight Princess. I think the comparisons are too perfect, and I must say it is really cool. His next three videos are dedicated to a short film he created called Tides. I won't tell you much about it, I really think you should check it out for yourself, but it deserves far more attention than it already has. It's really good. We get to see exactly how skilled Vasquez is as an animator, but this is far from the end of what he has to offer. Not too long after the short film, he announces that he is remaking Zelda 1 in a hand-drawn art style in devlog number 1. Why did he want to make it? Well, he just thought it would look really cool. Allow me to explain what Vasquez talks about in this video. Also, I apologize if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Just to give you a taste of what he has to offer. His plan is to take the first dungeon of the game and reimagine it in a 2D animation-inspired art style. Since he has to plan it out a lot, such as combat, map layout, and enemies, he's just making the first dungeon. But he likes to think of a mini project as a small part of a larger project. So, depending on how he's feeling after making the first dungeon, he might continue working on the game until every corner of it is remade. For this project, he is using Godot, which he found was a significant improvement over NES Maker for obvious reasons, which is what he was using for Vastus. He goes into some detail about learning character movement and collisions, and replaces the green rectangle with his own hand-drawn Link. He sheds light on some inspirations he had for this project, such as artworks created by Katsuya Terada for the original game, since the style evokes the game as this truly fantastical world, but also with a lot of texture and grit. He He was also inspired by Mako, who made some great Zelda fan art and also made artwork for Tunic. He begins his work on the first 3 rooms of the dungeon and discusses the process of creating a good layout and atmosphere that really sells the fantasy aspect. Once this is all completed, we get a proper look at what he has created so far. From what we get in this video alone, I was really excited to see how far this project could go. I loved what I saw, from the atmosphere of the dungeon to Link's design and animations. It may just be 3 rooms with no enemies yet, but this is just devlog number 1. There's still so much he can do. I won't tell you about the rest of his work though. I think if you're interested enough, you should go check out his videos for yourself, and maybe even drop him a subscription. 2 things I will show and tell you though is the intro and dungeon theme. For the theme, he got help from Boy Germs, and I think it's perfect. It remakes the original theme in a way that matches the atmosphere of this remake almost too well, and I love it. Next, he made a title screen and intro for the game. My gosh, I love it. I love the design of the fairy, and the sound effects pulled from Ocarina of Time work better than I would expect. I mean, it makes sense. It's a fairy. Fairies are mostly known from Ocarina of Time. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. And of course, the music is great, also made by Boy Germs. The somber melody of the main theme is just a chef's kiss of a soundtrack. Not to mention, the actual title screen itself is an amazing remake of the original title screen. I personally cannot wait to see all the different ways Vasquez will adopt the enemies and bosses into his style. And not just the monsters, the Hylians as well, if/when he gets to that point. I hope he creates a unique design for each individual Hylian, as opposed to the same sprite given to the respective gender. Don't know if that's asking for too much, I just think it would be cool. I'm also curious to see how he handles some of the overworld secrets, since you either need a manual or friends to find them. He could do what Tunic does and have the manual be a gameplay element, or he could do something completely different and just add minor details to indicate that something is different from everything else and could contain a secret. I personally like this idea more, just so long as it's not too obvious. However, this is all if he reaches that point in development. And one last thing, if he feels inspired to keep going after this project is complete, and I'm talking the entire game, he could even do a remake of The Adventure of Link. But that's if he wants to. I'm not wanting him to do it if he's not up for the task. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I'm just saying it would look really cool as a hypothetical idea. If I haven't convinced you to check out his development process yet, I don't know what will. He has made significant progress since the first video, and he even reads the comments for constructive criticism and tips if you have any you want to offer. I cannot wait for this to be completed, even if it's just the first dungeon. He does also make shorts detailing specific aspects about what's in his devlogs, if that's more your speed. I hope he continues working on the game once he completes it, but even if he doesn't, I'll be more than impressed with what he's created. So please, go check out his content, drop him a like or a subscribe, because he really deserves as much support as possible. And to Nintendo, if you're watching, leave this guy alone. He's remaking this game you have done nothing with out of pure passion for the Zelda franchise. He's been working on this for over a year now, and he's not damaging you at all. And Vasquez, if you're watching, keep up the great work. I wish you all the best for this project.